Hello, Freedom Nation. It's Jeff here once again with another episode of the Freedom Nation podcast. And on today's show, I've got Jim, and Jim is he's had a lot of success in businesses and things like that, but he reached a point in life where he went, yeah, but that's not really everything, and it's not always fulfilling. And so he kind of went on a journey to find that fulfillment for himself and for others. And he's going to show us how to do that today. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on in just 1 second.
All in you. Everything you're looking for, it's all in you. You gotta believe that it's all in you. Everything you're searching for, it's all in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Jim, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
I am glad to have you on today. Let's get started with your story. Tell us your story. How'd you get to where you're at today?
Yeah, I would love to. So for me, I started business at a pretty young age, and I got this sort of Midas touch feeling. I felt like no matter what I did, I could be successful and make money at it. And for the early part of my life, that became sort of my identity. I was just known as the guy who always had cash in his pocket, who could always be involved in a business, or who could always just do something successful in terms of what most people defined as success. And I let that definition really take control of my life. So as my life evolved, I got married, we had our first kid, came time to be a dad. And for me, my definition of fatherhood, what I saw growing up, what was modeled for me was hardest worker in the room, provide for your family, make sure they have everything that they need. You're off to work, right? You're off to work before they wake up. You'll come home, right around bedtime. You're going to do what you have to do to make it work.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I leaned heavy into, again, my expertise in making money to say, hey, I'm going to provide for my family. And that's what I did for 6 straight years. I was out of the house at 3 o'clock in the morning. I would come home 9 o'clock at night, 6 days a week, and made sure we had whatever we wanted. Cars, house, whatever, like the toys, more than you could ask for. Up until October 29th, 2019. It's my son's 6th birthday. So I get home 8:45 on the dot, and I come in and I'm like, all right, well, let's sing happy birthday before everyone goes to bed. And I could just feel the air in the house was just depleted. And my wife like plops down this half-eaten birthday cake on the kitchen table. And I'm standing there and just everything felt wrong. So like I can feel my wife is exhausted. She's frustrated. She's had a long day of dealing with the kids' friends and everything else. And my son's ready for bed. It just, for me, I wanted to feel like, hey, everyone, dad's home. Let's celebrate and let's be excited. And what wound up happening was I was on the brink of divorce, in the worst physical shape of my life. I had no relationship with my kids, had a great car in the driveway, had money in the bank, but literally every other metric of my life was in the absolute gutter. So standing there on that night in front of that half-eaten birthday cake, I realized that success was not what I was chasing, right? I wasn't chasing the right version of success. I was chasing this, very hollow definition that the world gave me. And so from that, obviously there's a lot of work that goes into figuring that out. And that's been a journey for the past 6+ years. But now I've rededicated my time to helping other people show up in their own lives and be present for the whole cake, I like to say.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And I mean that, when you think about it, when you came home, it was about you. It wasn't about him on his birthday. It was about, dad's home and let's celebrate. No, it's about him. And you missed that. So yeah, I mean, I'm guessing ever since you've never missed a birthday.
I have not.
Yeah.
There's been whole cakes at every one of those birthdays ever since.
That's exactly right. So I get where that, now I finally get your tagline, be there for the whole cake thing. So let's talk a little bit about, I know you've still continued, you've got successful businesses and stuff like that. What have you done after that? Beyond just showing up to the birthdays and all that, what have you done kind of personally, introspectively to get yourself to where you are now?
I feel like the biggest part of that is finding out who you actually are. And it's
Okay.
not this definition that the world gives you of you're a successful business person.
Hmm.
It's, you know, what is your actual identity? Who are you? What is your God given gift you were put on this earth to perform? Like,
Hmm.
why are you here? Right. And I
Yeah.
know it's a very broad question and a lot of people are going to struggle with that. But to me, that was the journey, right? And that still is the journey to try and figure out, hey, you're not here just to sell stuff and make money. What are you
Hmm.
here to do? So a large part of that transformative process is figuring out the answer to that question and pursuing, trying to be the best version of yourself every day.
Excellent. Excellent. So now do you take on clients and help them do this too, or?
I do.
Okay.
So I still operate. I have a digital marketing agency. That's
Okay.
my quote unquote 9 to 5. I am partners in a couple other businesses.
Hmm.
So I stay busy. I ironically work less now than I did, and the businesses are doing better than they were.
Of course.
So I literally
Anytime
just
you
got
get
home,
yourself out of the way, it's amazing how the business
right?
runs.
Yeah, they call it a bottleneck because it's at the top, right?
Yep.
Weird how we never really think about that part. Anyway, um, I spend most of my time now working with other people doing
Okay.
podcasts. I have a podcast of my own. I've written 6 books, and a lot of that comes down to my desire to help other people
Yeah.
not go through the same level of pain and
Mm.
to be able to have someone to kind of walk with them, through that journey.
Okay. Awesome. So explain to me, let's say I come to you, I'm a stressed out business owner. I've missed my kids' birthdays and stuff like that. How do you kind of engage with that person and then take them through whatever process you have?
Okay. So, step one for me is I believe that people have a very basic need for 4 things,
Okay.
and that is to feel loved, appreciated, seen, and heard.
Okay.
So the way that I start this, right, it's not, hey, here's a bunch of advice, you go follow it, right? We're going to
Mm.
sit down, we're going to figure out what's missing in your current day-to-day scenario that you're not feeling loved, appreciated, seen, and heard from, whether it's work, whether it's home, whether it's, your spiritual life, whatever it is.
Mm.
Where are you at right now? Right? We're going to unpack that and get you to a point where you feel seen and heard, because then you'll be able to actually start making progress. And I think that's
Okay.
a step a lot of people miss, right? They want to just prescribe directions and say, hey, go do this. But if you're not at a spot yet where you feel like you're worth actually investing time and energy into,
Mm.
none of it's going to work.
Yeah.
So for me, it's mostly about trying to uncover that part of the story to really own who you are, the mess, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and then from there, then you can figure out what the directions look like.
Excellent. So now, do you deliver this on a one-to-one basis? Do you work with a group of people at a time? How do you deliver it?
Yeah, so for me, the majority of it is one to one.
Okay.
I mentioned I have a couple books, so I've written 6 books. One of them is called "Show Up More." It's a 28 day by day guide for you to follow along and kind
Mm.
of start that process on your own. The other books after that are really like deeper dives into each of the different verticals.
Yeah.
But for someone who wants to kind of take this journey by themselves, hey, start there. If you're looking to have someone really by your side, that's when I would do kind of that one on one scenario.
Nice. So talk to me about what this has meant to you and some of your clients as you guys have kind of changed your focus. Tell me a little bit about how that's made you kind of feel, show up, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is. It is what I wake up for, to be honest. It gives me the most amount of energy and joy. It almost feels guilty in a way that I get to be a part of these, transformative processes, because there's so much freedom that comes from it, and I love that
Mm.
word for this. Is that once you realize kind of who you actually are and what you were put on this earth to do, and you're allowing yourself to do that every day, you
Mm.
finally feel free to be yourself, right? And to be able to watch that happen in real time is such a blessing.
That's awesome. Uh, excuse me. So, talk to me a little bit about what the. I mean, how long do you typically work with somebody? Is it ongoing coaching, or is it, hey, we've got a very specific period of time that we're going to work on this and kind of take them through a process? What is that for you?
Yeah, the process is life. I don't define it down to, hey, here's a 6-week program that you're going to have
Yeah.
to graduate from. Everyone's at a different starting point and a different end point, right? And the way that I see it typically work is you'll make the most amount of progress within like the first 6 months. It'll taper
Yeah.
down inside of a year, and
Yeah.
then from that, it's really maintenance, right? So you're still going to have someone who's really by your side. Hey, you're going through a situation, you need someone to talk to. Cool, I'm here. So the bulk of the work typically takes between 6 months and a year.
Mm-hmm.
After that, it's not something I ever really graduate people from. It's relationships. I
Yeah.
do this. Yes, I do it professionally. I don't do it for the money aspect of it. So for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's about building a relationship with someone. And hey, if you're in a situation where you need someone to reach out to, if we haven't spoken for 4 years and you just happen to call, you know, we'll be there.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, and I think you'd probably do it for free, but I think people don't value it unless they pay something for it. It'd be my guess.
That is true. I think even the people who pay for it, unless they are really in a spot where they understand
Mhm.
the pain of staying the same is worse
Yeah.
than the pain of the change, right? Because for all of us, like we acknowledge the fact that, hey, we could be better. We could be showing up more, but we're kind of comfortable with a little bit of like that frustration. It's not as uncomfortable as having the difficult conversation.
Yeah.
So really for me, it's getting over that hump, I think is the biggest thing more so than the dollar amount.
Absolutely. What's the next steps for you? Where do you see this progressing going forward?
More, to me, it's about being able to have these conversations at scale.
Okay.
So whether that means, more podcasts to reach more people and kind of open their eyes up to what it looks like to show up more in their own lives, or, being able to have people that I've worked with start doing this on their own. And I don't mean in
Nice.
like some type of fancy certification process method, but I just
Yeah.
mean I want more people to be present in their own lives. And however we can butterfly effect that into reality is what I want
Mhm.
to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the big key too is like, okay, there's only one you, but if you can turn 100 yous out there into the world that are helping people, yeah, it is the butterfly effect. It's just going to keep going and going and going and going and building from there. So I love that idea.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the other books. I mean, you talked about the one. What are some of the other books that you've written?
Yeah, so the other ones are deeper into the individual topics.
Okay.
So for me, when I talk about no have cakes, I identify a whole cake as having 6 slices.
Okay.
So my philosophy here is professional, emotional, relational, financial, spiritual, and physical.
Hmm.
If I did all 6, I usually forget
Yeah.
one or double up on one, but I think that was all
I do
6.
the same thing. You'll get your framework and it's like, crap, I can't remember that one piece of it.
Uh, so each one of the books is a deeper dive into that
Okay.
individual topic, right?
Nice.
So the way that I structured it was, hey, if you have no idea where to start with the original Show Up More book. That'll help
Got it.
you again feel that loved, appreciated, seen, and heard. Start
Mhm.
there, then kind of figure out, hey, what is the biggest thing I need help with?
Yeah.
Maybe you're okay spiritually and in the professional world, but you have no emotional health, right?
Right.
Start there and then deeper dive into that and kind of use them as needed. I didn't write them with the intention that you'd read them in order or straight through. So my intention was, hey, have this as a companion if you are feeling whatever the stressor is in the emotional realm. You could pick up, go to that chapter, read that
Nice.
chapter rather. So it's meant more as a companion rather than a straight through, hey, let me solve all your problems in a couple of chapters type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it might be, hey, I'm really focused on this area, so I'm going to focus on this book for this period of time. Okay, now I'm done. Where's the next area that I identified in that process? Does
Right.
the first one kind of lay the whole system out, or is it?
It does. Yeah. So the first one is really about kind of helping you to understand what your starting point is
Yeah.
and really come to terms with, hey, where are you at? And it doesn't have to be this thing that you announce to the world, but it has to be a real understanding with yourself.
Mhm.
So it's really about kind of opening up that aspect of it. And then once you again feel comfortable with, hey, all right, cool, this is where I'm at. I might not love it, but I accept my starting point.
Mhm.
Then, yeah, the rest of them kind of take you a little bit deeper into what to do next.
Okay. Cool. Excellent. Any books on the horizon?
There's a couple. I've got a couple in the works. I also, my daughter has written a couple books, so I
Oh,
enjoy helping
nice.
her do that as well. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few more cooking in there.
What's she writing on?
She wrote a couple of children's books.
Okay.
So the first one was called The Way You Shine. And
Okay.
that's a
Interesting.
story about kids on their way home from school who recognize other kids who are maybe feeling a little bit less than. And so it's about helping them to understand what their gifting is. And
Hmm.
it's she wrote it when she was 8 years old.
Wow.
I did the illustrations for her.
Okay.
So it's been
Very
a fun
cool.
project. And then she wrote a Christmas book version of that as well.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Get her started early. Is she the
Yes.
creative one of the crowd or
It's a mix. It's really a varied mixed bag in this house. So there's lots of entrepreneurial things going on.
good? Well, I mean, dad's kind of flecked off on him a little bit now that you get to spend more time around him. Look what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Lots of fun stuff.
Well, fantastic. Well, let's transition to the fast five questions now.
Okay.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Fantastic. Well, first question. You wake up in the morning, business is gone. You have $500 in your pocket, laptop, computer, place to stay, food and clothing. What do you do first?
Find someone to serve.
Okay.
So for me, it's how I started most of my businesses was, finding someone who needs something and going out and serving.
Hmm.
And, that the word of mouth referral will come in. The people will, to me, when you put your heart behind something and you actually help people genuinely,
Hmm.
business will take care of itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot of strategy that goes into like scaling and that whole nine. Yeah, I'm not going to dismiss that. But if you had to start over tomorrow, I'm going to show up and serve. I'm going
Hmm.
to, even if I gave that $500 away to a business that needed it, it's about showing up and putting forth that level of heart into whatever you do.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Next question for you. What's your biggest business mistake?
Thinking you have all the answers. I would 100% say thinking you know best.
Yeah, absolutely. What's a good book that you'd recommend for our audience?
Um, if I had to pick a good book, Profit First comes to
Oh,
mind. It's a pretty good one. I think a lot of people skirt around the idea of making
yep.
money, and it's a problem I had, to be frank. This thought of, hey, you can just go make more money, and you don't necessarily need to like properly allocate it. You could just go make more of it.
Yeah.
But really understanding kind of the theory behind it was very helpful.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you just even get the whole concept of profit first, I mean, it changes the accounting equation and goes from, income, expenses, here's what's left over to income, profit, then here's what's left over to pay
Right.
the bills. I mean, that simple process, every business I've started since reading that, day one, we've been profitable businesses, which most take months and months and months, mainly because I think people don't even focus on it. They just keep getting in there. And like you said, just, oh, I can make more money. Well, yeah, you can make more money, but if you don't control the expense side of it, it doesn't matter. And
Yep.
if you don't prioritize profits, the same thing. What's a tool that you use in your business that you might recommend?
I would say, hmm, from the from the technical standpoint, I would say something like a Google Analytics.
Okay.
Super
Interesting.
important. I think a lot of people gloss over that and how much you
Yeah.
could really understand about, hey, what is your customer looking for?
Hmm.
Uh, from a non-technical standpoint, and that's probably not the answer you're looking for, but relationships is without a doubt the biggest lever you can pull.
I open that question up to whatever it is, and I've had everything from a yellow legal pad to all kinds of fancy technical stuff. So I love relationships because I mean that's really the key in business. I mean, if you don't have relationships, you're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah,
And I find that as I fall back on those in my career, that every time I do, amazing things happen as a result of that. And if I can go serve somebody else, amazingly how things come back my direction at that point.
100%.
Awesome. All right, last question for you. What is your definition of freedom?
The ability to live a life where people are going to wonder if you're at work or at play.
I like that.
Right, where you can live a life where you don't necessarily draw the distinction, and people have to wonder, hey, is that guy working or is that guy at play?
Mm, yeah. Yeah. Then you're really not working either. Anyhow,
Right.
it's, yeah, you're doing what you enjoy and everything. So, Jim, if somebody's interested in learning a little bit more about you, about what you do, wants to get in contact with you, where's the best place to find you?
Absolutely. So jimsabellico.com is,
Okay.
an easy spot. You'll find me on any of the social medias. I'm always around.
Perfect.
Only Jim Sabellico in the world. So you look for me, you'll find me pretty easily.
I love it. Love it. Well, we'll put that in the show notes so we can find you real easily. And I'm assuming if somebody needs a digital marketer, you would certainly be glad to help in that world as well.
100%.
Awesome. Well, very cool. So, Jim, thank you for being part of the show today. We really, truly appreciate it. It was an enjoyable conversation, and thank you for getting home late that one night with your birthday cake and your half birthday cake, and helping people to find a full one from
Yeah,
now
my
going
pleasure.
forward. So, thanks a lot, and folks, as always, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you shoot us a question if you need to in the comments, and we'll be glad to help out and answer those questions. I'd love to do it. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you guys back here the very next time.